All right. Do you know what you're giving away tonight?
I do.
I'm moving pictures right now. I can't really look at you. I've
Okay.
got.
You're live, right?
Yeah, we are live, and
Okay.
it's just about 6 o'clock. And I had one picture I wanted to add to the show,
Okay.
and it's just about there.
Okay. Yeah, I know what I'm giving away. I'm giving away a Moto Barn.
Moto Barn. Oh yeah, we're giving away a shirt and a hat from
A Moto
Georgia.
Barn, a shirt and a Moto Barn hat. And I'm giving away, that's for viewer appreciation. I'm giving away stickers for What's It Worth, and for trivia we have a poster.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I'm running late, Susie baby.
Go.
I got. All right.
Yep.
I wanted to show everybody this cool little.
I'm Gary Wilson, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and I am your host, Joe Abbate. Thank you for joining me tonight. Susie, are you with me?
I am.
Where are you?
Right here. Look.
There you are. There you are. And what do we got going on as far as giveaways tonight, Cookie?
We have, for viewer appreciation, we have the Ackerman Moto Barn shirt and hat.
Yeah, it's an extra large shirt. Show on the front.
Extra large. And then that's the back.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And there's a front.
Yes.
So it's an extra large gray Moto Barn shirt and hat. And then we have stickers for What's It Worth. And for trivia, a poster.
Oh, we got posters for trivia.
Yeah.
All right, we're still doing that.
Yep.
Which is really cool. People are loving that.
Yeah.
And these things are hanging up all over the place.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
And moving on. I want to thank our sponsors. Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, Bultaco East, SoCal Mako, Arma Racing Series, the whole thing, not just Arma Northeast, Preston Petty Products, Full Circle Racing, and Amsoil. Don't forget, if you want to have your name up on the board just like this for $49.95, you can do so. We'll put your name up on the board just like that for $49.95, and you also get a Vintage Motocross Q&A t-shirt in the color and size of your choice, as well as a Vintage Motocross Q&A apron. All right, and I am going to get Susie on full camera here one more time, because just to the right of her head, you see it says Kurt Flatchbart there? No, the other right. The other right. Yeah, kind of like that. Kurt Flatchbart. There it is. Kurt just sent me a couple of bucks today, and he's another supporter of our show, along with Achilles Caracas and Tom Christie, Don Zabalski, and everybody else you see up there. And last week, we had Lou Blanchard, who's up here behind me, somewhere on the board as well. So keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. And we'd like to have as many people watching the show as possible, okay? And I had a special request this week from my friend Paul Griffin. And it's kind of funny, because he said, I have some friends on the East Coast, and you usually put the Mako Mo segment a little bit toward the back of the show. And by the time the back of the show happens, it gets to be around 10 o'clock out there on the East Coast. And it gets to be a little late for some of those guys. So is there any way possible you could move the Mako Mo section up, or the Mako Minute or Mako Mo segment up toward the beginning of the show? And because I am going to take the septuagenarian audience into account, okay, we are going to move the Mako Mo Minute with Paul Griffin up to the front of the show this week. And the topic this week is 76 and 77 Mako AW replicas. All right, so let's get a look at what Paul Griffin has sent into us. And
Mako Mo's. Tonight we're going to talk about the Adolf Wheel Mako, the AW. Adolf Wheel raced for Mako when he turned 21 in 1960 and started racing the European GPs in 1960 all the way until he retired after the 78 season. 28 years of motocross. And it's funny, I heard a commentator say that Eli Tomac is the longest running active motocrosser at 34 years old. And I was thinking to myself, well, Adolf Wow raced for 28 years. And Tomac is 34. I just thought that was kind of funny that they don't count Mako riders or the GPs. Anyway, getting back to the topic of the AW, Adolf Wow raced for Mako his entire career. He didn't race any other brand. Like I said, he started in 1960 and raced in the oval barrel Mako and ended his career in 1978. But as a commemorative, honorable rider for Mako, they named the 1976 model the AW. And the AW, man, it was a hot seller. This is an AW 250, 1976. And a lot of companies like Suzuki, chiefly Roger DeCoster, protested to Mako, and when Aki Johansson was a team member and said he demanded that Mako be stripped down. And they stripped down the square barrel of Aki's, but Aki Johansson said, I'm going to pick the magazine that can strip it down, not the AMA. So he did, and that magazine article came up with some special porting, but other than that, there was nothing Star Wars in the motor at all. And a magazine article went out in Dirt Bike Magazine talking about the AW was relatively a stock bike. But I'll go through some things that made the Makos not stock, but from an eye spectator view, they looked very, very close to stock. And we'll start with the forks. You could see that the forks are magnesium lowers. The hubs are magnesium as well, front and rear. The stock were sandcast alloy with a sandcast fork tube as well. And the rear hub, again, was a sandcast hub. And Wild's bike had remote reservoir nitrogen shocks for the first time. And you could see that the stock production shocks on the 76 and even the 77 model a year later still ran the Girlings gas shocks with no remote reservoirs until the 78 model came out. Other than that, the engine had magnesium cases. So just like Roger DeCoster's Suzuki, you could see that a lot of the Works Mako engines, we even were sometimes stamped magnesium on the outer case, on the ignition cover. You could see this Works motor has magnesium cases, and this clutch cover is a regular sandcast. They're discolored just a little bit, just like the forks were on the Works bike here. And you could see that there was just very, very subtle things, but mainly a Mako Works bike was all about making it lighter, having an alloy swing arm in the back versus the chromoly steel. All they did was lighten the bike. Generally, off the showroom Mako made a novice rider look intermediate. So it was way ahead of its time in handling, and it was giving Suzuki and chiefly Roger DeCoster, it was giving him fits on how this bike was handling so well. And the Suzuki was such a fragile chassis. So there you have it. Other than aesthetics with the red and the silver of the two Makos, you can always identify a 76 because the seat bolts on the back. A 77, it bolts on the sides. So other than that, quick identification, both of these frames are very similar. You could see some holes drilled. There's no kickstand bracket on the Works bikes. It was all about making it lighter. Anyway, hopefully that kind of shed your light when you pick up a Mako and it might have a stamped case that says magnesium, or if you're lucky enough to get a set of forks and they look a little brown compared to what you're normally used to, you'll know that you got yourself a special Mako. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, Paul Griffin with a really good report on the Makos and the differences as far as giving Roger DeCoster fits in Adolf Wheel in 1977. You and I would have to have a little conversation about that, Paul. Maybe in 73? The Mako might have been giving him a little bit of a fit, but I don't know about in 77. All right, but let's not have any controversy on the show here tonight. Come on, what kind of a pop-up am I getting from Norton? What do you want to do?
What are you getting?
It's some stupid pop-up, and it's right in the middle of my screen.
From who?
Don't show me this again. All right, anyway. Mako's Moto Minute was brought to you by SoCal Mako, located in Ventura, California. Be sure to contact Gary Quartz. He's on Facebook, and his email is gary@socalmako.com. And I need to stay CALM.com. Here's the problem segment is brought to you by Motion Pro. Be sure to visit them online at motionpro.com. And the longest special in history continues. 20% off at Motion Pro. Use code MP9135. That's MP9135 upon checkout. That's 20% off across the board on everything except custom-made cables, including this handy wrench, 12 millimeter on one end, 14 millimeter on the other. This is perfect for getting the sprockets off of your bike when the nuts are on the back of the sprocket and you want to get underneath there without ripping your knuckles wide open. Okay? I think they're about $15. Let's get to the first question. Can anyone provide some info on the below rear shocks? This is on a CZ, and I did a little snooping around, and it appears that Works Performance at that time did make a little reservoir aftermarket kit. And if you look closely, just follow me here. You see this picture where at the top it looks like the shock eye? Well, that's not the shock eye. That is where that goes over the valve, or the valve is removed on this shock right here. See it? And it goes either in there or over it, and there's probably some oil in here, or there was a bladder, is from what I understood. There was a bladder inside of this remote reservoir, and probably held oil, and they are certainly no longer available. But what you have here are a set of very early Works Performance shocks with the cooling fins on them, and then shortly after that, they came up with this little guy right here. Thank you, Mark Wonderland, for pointing that out to me. Now I know what they were. And I don't know why it is this week, but we certainly have a couple of questions on CZs. Here's another one. 74 CZ 250, is this rear modification from the factory, or is it aftermarket? And here's the deal. All right, here's what's going on with that. And I had Dave Boydston on the phone yesterday, and he's really the only guy I had to call regarding this. Now, when I first looked at this picture, I thought to myself, this is definitely a modification made by the dealer, and the dealers were instructed in 1975 to do this, and in 1976. They were sent a drawing, and it said, here's how you make it, here's how you lay down the shocks, and you put a little bracket in there, a little gusset, which is shown there. And then you're going to have your 75 bike or your 76 bike. But let me back up a minute. In 1975, there was the Falter replica and there was the regular 250. And the Falter replica, of course, had the air shocks like this. The shocks went straight up and down. This is a 76. The shocks went straight up and down. And that was your Falter replica, and you had your regular CZ 250 as well. In 1976, dealers still had 1974 and 75 bikes. They were, again, notified by the CZ factory to cut off the frame loop, add Preston Petty fenders, front and rear, white ones, and a 34 millimeter Mikuni on the 250 and a 36 on the 400. All right. So that basically gave you your 1974 or 1975. That gave you your 1976 bike. And the modification looked just like that. And another thing was the suggestion for the wider petty fender was because a lot of guys went to I think it was a 275 or a 300 on the front tire, and the regular CZ fender was just too narrow. So Preston, of course, had that wider fender. That's what CZ recommended you put on the bike. So your 74 or your 75 and 76 rather are basically your 74 with those modifications on it. Now, Dave went into an explanation with me yesterday. I don't know if you could see this picture right here. This is a bike I had on my trailer. This is an NOS 1976 CZ. You could see where the shocks are laid down. It's a Falter. You could see where the shocks are laid down. You could see where there is a gusset in there. It looks very, very similar to this behind that number plate. But there were also other people making the modification once word got out to the dealers that this was how you got a 1975 or a 1976 CZ, which was basically your 74. So whether it was some Southern California companies, there was, I don't know if Mid-Valley was doing that. There were a couple of them down there, and they were making that modification. And they were making that modification on the swing arm too, to where when they altered the shock on the frame, they actually moved the shock back on the swing arm, back to where, even further back than where it was on the 74. So if you're out there and you see bikes that have what appear to be some unusual modification to it, you need to look. There's only one way to really tell. There's only one way to really tell, and that's on the welding. Now, what Dave and I were talking about was CZ, they didn't have TIG welders at that time. And the people in the States who were making the modifications probably did. Over there, they were probably using weld rod or MIG or whatever it was. And the weld looks like crap. You might even find some wire in a weld from a CZ dealer. But again, the modification wasn't done at CZ. It was done here. So you got to look and see if the rest of the welds on the bike look different than the weld on the modification. I don't know if I have helped you or confused you completely, but that's where that is going. All right. Got another question here. The guy does not want his name or the name of the company put up on the screen because he's in a little bit of a debate with what's going on. The question was, well, I can put it right here because the person's name isn't really on there. Okay. I recently had the cylinder replated. It was returned to me with this spot on it just above the bottom of the cylinder. The company said not to be concerned. It's below where the rings would hit. Should I be concerned? And you can see here where there's that spot, and underneath it is right where the cutout would be on the bottom of the cylinder. And I don't know if this picture shows it much better. Yeah, a little bit. Get a better shot at where the plating didn't hit. Now, going by what the manufacturer or the person who did the replating said, don't be too concerned with it. It's below the rings. Yeah, I kind of go with that. But I paid you good money, and I have to now second guess your work. I would be very concerned that maybe during, not heat cycles, but after maybe a good wear and tear on this bike, even though the rings aren't hitting down there where that mark is the chrome coming away? Is it starting to flake? Either way, they may be right in saying don't worry about it. Let them not worry about it when it's on their bike. When it's on your bike, they should be worrying about it and they should make it right. Send it back, have them re-weld it, have them hone it, and send you back what you paid for. I'm not saying that their suggestion isn't good, but I paid you to do something right. Do it right. All right? We're going to take a little bit of a break. We will be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A. Where is that commercial? Oh, my God.
It's there.
It's always there. There he is. God said, let there be light, and there was light. Preston Petty said, let there be light, and he gave you this, 1,200 lumens with a rechargeable battery on the back. Hook it up to your bike. No wires, no fuss, no muss. Get over to PrestonPettyProducts.com today. Thanks, Paul Stannard. And while we're at it,
hi, I'm Jeff with Motion Pro, introducing you to our latest digital tire pressure gauge today. Now, this has proven to be one of our staple products. It is trusted by race teams throughout the industry, as well as Dunlop tire techs. We'll first talk about the air gauge head, which has an auto on-off backlit display and large numbers, and so it's really easy to read, even in low lighting situations. It reads 0 to 60 PSI with high precision down to 0.1 PSI and accuracy of plus or minus 0.6 PSI. Attached to the head is our trapezoid manifold, which is billet aluminum in construction and gives a nice ergonomic feel in your hand. It also gives access to our high pressure bleeder, which was designed by Motion Pro. Now moving on, we have this long air hose, which has dual swivels, and so you can get into tight areas and still get a good read at the gauge. And at the end, now included, is our Pro air gauge chuck. It engages positively onto valve cores for extremely accurate readings. So go ahead and pick one up for yourself today. It's available from dealers nationwide.
all right, there you have it. That's what's going on at Motion Pro. And don't forget, you'll even get that tire gauge 20% off at motionpro.com when you use the code MP9135. Susie,
Yeah.
you are squinting over there at the camera. What can't you see, honey? There's something you're missing?
I can see everything on this tablet tonight. I could see your viewers. I could see, and I was never able to see what you see. Now I do.
Okay.
I don't see the comments on this. I have to look at your phone.
All right.
That's all.
Did you come in early tonight?
I did.
Did you rehearse a little bit with me to see how things were working?
No.
You're such a liar. I can't believe you lied on the air. Yes, she did, folks. I made her come in and we went over a few things, and Susie's a little more familiar with her social surroundings now.
My
And,
social surroundings.
and how to do things on the show. All right. You know what time it is?
I do.
What?
It's trivia time.
That's right, baby. It is time for trivia. Trivia is brought to you by Mike McCook and Motorcyclist Illustrated. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Motorcyclist Illustrated today. It is quite a dichotomy of motorcycles over there at the McCook website. There's on-road bikes, off-road bikes, adventure bikes, trans bikes, bikes that don't know what they identify as. You got to go over there
I can't believe you just
and
said
see why not?
trans bikes.
Yeah, like the Trans Am.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Trivia is a call-in contest. Be sure to call in at 925-784-2195. That's 925-784-2195. The prize is, of course, this very, very limited production 18 by 24-inch poster of cover of Racer X featuring Tony DeStefano and Jimmy Weiner.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Here comes the question. Get your phone ready because you got to call in. 925-784-2195. Here's the question. After seeing a British racer signal to his pit crew, it inspired the logo for this company in 1958. What company was it? A signal to a British racer to his pit crew inspired the logo for this company in 1958. What company was it? 925-784-2195. In the meantime, it is time for Dave's Classic Corner. That is brought to you by Dave Boyden at AMS. Be sure to visit them online at ams.com. And be sure to follow Dave Boyden on Facebook. He's got 5,600,557 followers. He took in over $7 million last month going live on Facebook.
7 million?
Yeah, I think he's up to $8 million. Okay?
I think I'll start posting
All right.
videos.
Here's what Dave has for us this week. It's pretty cool.
Hi, this is Dave from AMS. I'm just kind of doing a little cleanup on this Mako. This is a kind of an oddball serial numbered one, but it shows to be a 79 or an 80, and it actually has the same VIN numbers on the engine and the frame, telling you both years. So this is a 440 Enduro, is what the engine is, and the frame, I guess, too, is why it looks like a 78 with long side panels on it. But either way, it's GP legal in vintage racing. Got a fresh motor on it. I think it's been ridden 2 times. Those are original rims, the green sticker Acrons, and they're really clean wheels, stock wheels on it and stuff. It's got Olin's piggybacks on it. There's Olin's piggybacks in there, and Metzler tires are on it, front and back. Just rattle canned a gas tank. It had the bigger Enduro tank. I took it off and put the motocross tank on. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for a racer. And that's the original seat and everything on it. Folding tip shift lever. Pretty presentable bike. Got to put a fuel filter on it. It has the magnesium hubs of that year with the steel rings around them. Doesn't have it in the front. Looks like the correct stock tire for it also. New side panels, new fenders, new handlebars, stock foot peg, stock brake pedal, stock rear sprocket. Low time original. It's got a different kind of a Bosch ignition on it. Under the tank, it's a little bit different. And that's a spark arrestor. It looks like an Answer product silencer from back in the day. But there you go. 79, 80, 250, 440 Magnum Enduro. Available, ready to ride. Thanks.
Another good segment from Dave's Classic Corner. Thank you, Dave Boyden. And of course, my numbers were slightly exaggerated, but Dave does spend a lot of time going live on Facebook from a lot of really great events or coming up with stuff like this that we've been using on the show. So Dave and I have a good friendship and a good working relationship here between AMS and Vintage Motocross Q&A. Now, nobody has called in yet.
No.
And I'm going to read it one more time. All right? Because I know it's getting late for the people on the East Coast. Actually, somebody said it in the comments.
Oh, somebody said it?
But they didn't call in.
Oh, I didn't see that.
A signal to a British racer to his pit crew inspired the logo for this company in 1958. What company was it? I'm going to give you a hint. It was a British racer who gave the signal, not a British company. I think that I threw you a curve with that one. And I did that intentionally. A British racer gave the signal. But it was not necessarily a jolly good Brit who had seen the signal being given. But he did come up with a logo for his company when they did that. Motor Showcase is up next. Motor Showcase is brought to you by Preston Petty Products. Be sure to visit them online at PrestonPettyProducts.com. And yeah, I do have a video from Roy coming up in just a little bit. Roy's been giving us a lot of good videos lately. It's coming up in just a little while. I just wanted to move Paul Griffin's video up just this week. And maybe we'll do it that way. I don't want to give too many videos all at one time. This week's Moto Showcase bike is brought to us by Mark Alcorn. Okay, it's a 1999 Kawasaki KX250 chassis with a KX500 engine, an SR build of sorts, is what Mark tells us. It's got 46 millimeter Oleans forks, Kashima coat uppers, DLC lowers. It's got Ride Engineering triple clamps from 2006 KX, a 22 millimeter offset on the clamp. It's got an Oleans rear shock and SPD billet rear linkage. 270 millimeter front rotor with Brembo 28 millimeter dual piston calipers, 240 millimeter rear rotor from a 2003 KX. Got a CRF Honda master cylinder with integral reservoir. Mylar custom radiators, redesigned coolant flow to be up the left across the right side. Let me see what he says here again. Mylar custom radiators, redesigned coolant flow to be up the left, across, and down the right. Okay, got you. Pretty cool. Steve Wells, KX Tech exhaust system, bearings, gaskets are from him too. VHM head with custom chamber from a blank. That's really cool. There it is right there. Fresh Millennium cylinder and Vossner piston, cleaned up the ports a little bit, recontoured the intake so the V-force reeds didn't pitch down as they can do at some point. Hole in the rear skirt of the piston to improve airflow into the in and out of the crankcase. Two-piece clutch cover from Luke Arana at TSO in Southern California. Ignition cover as well. Hydraulic clutch from a 2024 CRF 450RW modified pressure plate to run flat face Torrington thrust bearing in place of the ball bearing. Boy, I wish we had a little bit of a look inside this bike. Mark Alcorn, who does such a phenomenal job. Anyway, it's got a vape ignition with a 100-watt lighting coil, a service plastic, Guts Racing seat cover, Han hubs, DID rims, and are from W. Hot and cold start used to operate the choke. Cold start lever now. Lectron 40 millimeter carb. Homemade front cylinder head stabilizer. This is absolutely an incredible bike. And if any of you guys are familiar with Mark Alcorn's work, he just has an amazing way of blending parts that look like they belong there. I mean, in the fashion, may he rest in peace, of Dave Miller. When they get done doing something, it certainly looks like it just belongs there. And that's a talent that Mark Alcorn and Dave Miller had. I want to thank Mark Alcorn for sending us in 250 frame, 500 engine with a lot of great mods. Wow. Mark Alcorn, you did suggest, or you didn't suggest, I gave you an option of what you would like as a gift from our show for sending in your bike. And you wanted a gray Vintage Motocross Q&A t-shirt. So that's what you're going to get. All right. I want to thank Russell Waters from Amsoil for being a sponsor and supporter of our show. We got a Vintage Motocross Q&A special. You save 25% on all Amsoil products. Now, don't go to amsoil.com. Go to www.theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. I know it's a little long, but it certainly is worth it. www.theamsoilpeople.shopamsoil.com, and you'll get 25% off. I'll tell you why. That's like pennies above dealer cost. Pennies above dealer cost, okay? I don't see, oh, here it is right here. Just another little message. I think Susie's coming back in with the answer on the trivia. I don't really know, but it's 25% off all the products at theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. Susie, you got anybody for me?
I do.
All right, here we go. Let me get back to the question so I could read it correctly and we'll know what's going on here. This is Joe Abbate. You're on the air at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Alan Janver from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hey, Alan. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling in tonight. Now, the question is, a signal to a British racer to his pit crew inspired the logo for this company in 1958. What was the company?
I'm pretty sure it was Bultaco.
It is.
And the gentleman that started the company in his farmhouse originally worked for Montesa in their department. And when Montesa would not get into racing as much as he wanted to, that's why supposedly he left and started his motorcycle factory in his farm.
You are 100% correct and down to the word on that information. In fact, I have it up here on the screen, and you can see it now. Where he was. It doesn't. This isn't the part where It says that he worked for Montesa, but that is in this article where I got this picture and I got this information. So you're going to get a post. You're going to get a poster from us, okay?
Oh, fantastic.
I'm going to put Susie back on the line. Oh, Susie's got your address. Hey, thank you for calling in and congratulations.
You're welcome. Did by chance did you have time to look on YouTube that Janitor's Archives video, the racing that was done here in the middle of the United States?
I did, and you know what? I want to talk to you about that.
Oh.
But I can't do it. I can't do it right now. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
There you go. We do have a winner, and it is Bultaco. And yeah, as many of us do, and we even see our kids do it, and everybody does it, and they've done it for years. Everything okay? They do this. Well, Senor Bulto saw somebody in the British team do that. That's how he came up with his name for Bultaco. And you know what? I'm going to share a little something else with you right now, too. Bultaco loved Lamborghinis. And he and Ferruccio Lamborghini were friends. And that has a little bit to do. I mean, his name was Bulto, and that's where Bultaco comes along. But some of the motorcycles, the names, whether it was Frontera or Alpina, Persang, some of them had to do with bullfighting and the raising of bulls. So there was a connection there between Signor Bulto and Ferruccio Lamborghini. Where are we? We're done with... Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a little commercial break. We are going to be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A. All right? Heike, what do you think?
I am Heikki Mikkola. We will be right back.
That was perfect, Heike.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online. All your donations and purchases are 100% tax deductible. That's the internationalmotocrossmuseum.org, or you could visit them on Facebook. Very exciting news out of the International Motocross Museum today. I, along with Barry McBride and Terry Good, have been working diligently for a year because we got put back a year last January. And we've been working diligently on putting some things together for the IMM. We got some things done, and we got some very, very positive news came to us today. There'll be more talk about that in the very, very near future. Somebody actually took a meeting with an IMM representative in person, and this company is very interested in becoming involved with the International Motocross Museum. I'll tell you more about that as things progress. If you want to become a sponsor or a supporter for Vintage Motocross Q&A, for just one low price, you can become a sponsor, $249.95 a month. Space is limited. Contact me as soon as possible. And look, if you don't want to go for the $250 a month and you're not a business, but you're just a guy who loves motocross and you want to support the show, $50. We'll get you a poster, a shirt of your choice in the size and color that you choose, along with an apron, $49.95. And you get your name up on the board, just like you see behind me here, or you see behind Susie over there. Susie, get off the phone. Life is passing you by. Oh, you have to look at the phone for the show?
What?
You have to look at the phone for the show?
Yes.
I see. All right, look, see all the great names back there? Okay, that's the way that goes. You get your name up on the board. What's happening next? Thank you, Steve Grandis and Bultaco East for being a supporter of the show, as well as Sunrise Vapor Blasting. Thank you, Mark Ferriester. Do a great job for us here on the parts when we send them to you, and you got a great service out there as well. The What's It Worth segment is next. This is a part of the show where we ask you how much you think this bike recently sold for. And we will give you, Susie, what are you giving away for this tonight? Stickers? Yeah, we give away stickers for this.
Yeah.
And you're still working on the viewer appreciation guy?
I got it.
All right, let's get rid of this first. Well, not get rid of it, but let's move on with it. And you guys guess how much you think the bike recently sold for. It's a 1980 Honda CR125. And this is some of the information that went with it. The bike was recently sold on eBay. And the seller says that Vintage Motocross bike has undergone a full mechanical and cosmetic refresh, making it ready to ride or display. The engine is fully rebuilt, top and bottom end. We're done with the piston and crankshaft. Suspension professionally rebuilt, front and rear suspension done and specialized by a specialized shop in California. All new plastic with the exception of the gas tank, which is in good shape. And it's got a clean Montana title. The shocks are completely rebuilt. That's wonderful. Too bad you put them on upside down. All right. And as far as the plastic goes, yeah, I got to agree with that. You did buy new plastic for the bike, and you didn't put number plate backgrounds on it. There's a real great picture of the shocks that are upside down. And you put completely refurbished, and somewhere else in here, you actually use the word restored when those wheels look like they came out of the bottom of a pit in an outhouse. Okay, but you know me, I don't want to be too critical of the bike. Up front, looks pretty good. Again, the wheels weren't done. The hardware wasn't done. I guess the cylinder was done. You have it B-blasted. That doesn't really tell me what's going on inside. Here's another picture of it here. Dents in the pipe, got the wrong bars. And, well, let me not show that just yet because that shows the price of the bike. This bike was listed twice on eBay. It sold the second time. So I don't know what to make of it, but it is, I mean, it may be rebuilt, but it doesn't look like it was put back together in the right hands because the shocks are on upside down. Does it have a new crank? Does it have a new piston? The guy says so. How much you think this bike recently sold for? 25? 35? You think he hosed somebody for like $4,000? No, I don't think so. This bike sold for $2,875. It did have a feedback. It is a 1980 Honda CR125. Do I think $2,875 is a bad price for a Honda CR125 in 1980? No, I don't, and I'll tell you why. It's the last year of the air cooling. It's the only year the bike came with 2 shocks and a center port engine. It was totally redesigned from the 1979. And I think the bike is worth $2,800. I just find the description and the reassembly of the bike questionable. All right, so let's leave it at that. Susie, anybody get close at $2,875? I could look over here too. Doug Fansteel, good evening to you from Maryland. Better late than never, George Ackerman.
Well, it looks like
anybody?
Lots. Richard Lots got 28.
Richard Lott, what do you guess?
28.
Richard Lott is the winner of the stickers at $2,800. Okay? Richard Lott, get me your address. We'll get you some stickers, compliments of Vintage Motocross Q&A. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to run the full circle Maddox, full circle racing. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A and the winner of the viewer.
Rossi, you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McCallister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McCallister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McCallister at Full Circle Racing today.
Okay, Bob Bean and Rich Lutz both got the amount of the bike correct. They were both right there at 2,800, so I'm going to give them both stickers. Last week I did the same thing. I think Bob Siskavich and somebody else won, and they both got the same. They gave them both stickers. Okay, where are we now? Did you know? The Did You Know segment is generally brought to you by Jeff Kokoski. Jeff is okay. He just needed a week off to take care of some personal things, so he wasn't able to get us a good write-up on anything this week, but he said he will be back next week, and he's working on something. I don't know if it was for a boot company. Look, you never know with Jeff Kokoski. He sends in things on sandpaper, boots, helmets, bikes, all kinds of really great stuff. I want to thank Jeff Kokoski for being a big part of this show. Thank you, Ben's Vintage Mini Podcast. Thank you, Ben Thomas, for all you do for us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. And as I promised you, I usually do it up in the beginning of the show. The next time, try this segment with Roy Vanderveer, but I wanted to switch it up a little bit tonight. So here's Roy's video. It is absolutely excellent. It's on an idler gear and a problem you may have in your Yamaha or maybe another bike. Roy, what do you got?
Hi, I'm Roy Vanderveer, and I'm back looking at this Yamaha 175 two-stroke, and we spent a lot of time going over the clutch system. But while I'm here and on reassembly, I couldn't help but notice that the kick idler gear is spinning the clutch output, the output shaft, and it's spinning the main shaft, or the clutch shaft. It's not supposed to do that. This is supposed to just be an idler gear. The only time that this gear comes into play is if you push the Kickstarter down, which throws this gear out and engages the idler gear, which turns the gear on the back of the clutch basket to start the engine. So there's a problem here, and I want to get to the bottom of it. This is something that, if you've ever put your bike up on a stand and it was idling in neutral, but the rear wheel was spinning, and it was spinning pretty aggressively, even while in neutral, I think that's where this problem originates. So I'm going to want to find out what's causing this to bind up on the shaft. I suspect it's a clearance problem between the circlips, the thrust washers, and the gear. So this gear may need a little bit of relief on the back to get adequate clearance so that it's not pinched into a sandwich here in between the clips, which you'll see as we take it apart. Here we go. And this is one of the things that when people think it's just a matter of assembling or disassembling and straight up assembling, there's a lot going on here, and sometimes it's just not right. Now, I already tested this. Now, if we spin it with the clip off, now the gear spins just like it's supposed to. It's not turning the output shaft, which is not turning the clutch shaft, or the lay shaft as they call it. So we need to buy this gear some clearance so it's not sandwiched in between the inner washer and the outer washer quite so much. Okay, and we're back with this dragging kick idler gear. What I have done is taken this over to my lapping stone and used 320 wet dry sandpaper to remove some material from the back side of this gear, which you can see where it's really shiny. That's where I've been working on it. As always, we've got the base clip, and then there's a thrust washer, and then we got our kick idler gear, and then there's another thrust washer, and then we put the outer clip on, and then let's see what we have. You know, I almost didn't make this video, but then I thought, you know, this is the kind of stuff that people will just sail right past and not even realize there's a problem. And what happens is there's some tightness in there, which creates drag, which is friction. Friction creates heat, and heat creates problems for everything involved, because this gear is just supposed to idle along, and there shouldn't be anything preventing it so that it spins the other shafts. And well, we can see it's still trying to get a little piece of it. Let's see. We're gonna have to take another trip over to the lapping stone and try to remove a little more. Okay, and after about 5 minutes on the lapping stone, we're back with the gear installed, and we can spin it, and it's not having any effect on spinning the other shafts of this transmission, which is exactly how it's supposed to work. So if you've got a kick idler gear that's dragging the transmission along with it, it needs some attention. Just want to give you a nice view. That is supposed to spin just completely free. Sometimes it is pulling the trans shaft a little bit, but it's very, very light. So we're good. Of course, that's a hardened gear, so getting the backside of the gear to give up a little bit of material took some real grinding to get that done. I started out with 320 grit, which is pretty coarse, and then dropped it down to 220 for the last pass, again on a lapping stone, so it's perfectly flat, and we got a nice result there. So we're not going to be generating extra heat against the clips or the thrust washers or the shafts, so that should keep our kick idler gear nice and healthy. Over and out.
I'm very, very grateful to Roy Vanderveer, Paul Griffin, and Jeff Kokoski for giving us content for this show. I can't do everything, guys. And yeah, just thank you so, so much. And for you, the viewers at home, which I'm going to have a little something to say about the viewership of this show at the end of the show tonight. But for right now, we're going to bounce over to Susie, and Susie's going to tell you more about who the the viewer appreciation person is. Susie, what do you got?
I have Jay Hoover.
Jay Hoover?
Yes.
What's he going to get?
Jay Hoover's getting a motor, what is it? Vintage of, it's George Ackerman's Moto Barn shirt, extra large in gray.
Right.
The front, here's the back, and a nice hat. So send us your address, please, in a private message, and we'll get it out to you tomorrow.
Jay Hoover.
Jay Hoover.
All right, you're going to get a hat just like this, Jay. See this? See, I went to school in New York City for commercial and television, so I know how to hold props. Susie does a great job, though. Anyway, my career didn't go really all that far, but you're going to get a hat just like that, and yeah, hat and a shirt.
Hat and a shirt, right?
All right?
Yeah.
Everybody's a winner at Vintage Motocross Q&A. I am now going to do, this week in motocross history, then Susie's coming back with the announcements.
Right.
Okay, and then I have another announcement after that. This week in motocross history is brought to you by Racer X. Be sure to visit them online at racerx.com. 1975, at the Croyle Radio-sponsored Trans Am event in Herman, Nebraska, teenage Honda rider Marty Smith went 1-2 on his Honda RC400. He topped the Suzuki of multi-time FIM 500cc world champion Roger DeCoster, who went 3-1, and Bultaco mounted Marty Tripes. I don't think I have a Marty Tripes picture, but there's Roger. And in fact, this is the Roger picture from that section, I think. Oh no, this is Marty on the cover. I mean, he wins that big race, and they just give him a little blurb up here on the cover, okay? But that's neither here nor there. All right, 1977, October 30th, which is tomorrow, at Robert Run Raceway in Plano, Texas, just outside Dallas, Roger DeCoster topped the Trans Am aboard his Works RN 400 Suzuki. It was the man's fourth win of the 1977 series to date. The five-time 500cc world champion posted a 1-4 finish as several of his main challengers had inconsistent days. Okay. 1984. In what will turn out to be the last major win in his AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame career, Texas legend Kent Howerton won the ABC Television Superbikers competition at the AMA National in Carlsbad Freeway. Wait a minute. He won the ABC Television Superbikers competition at Carlsbad Raceway on a Kawasaki. Howerton, 30 years old at the time and multi-time AMA National, Trans AMA, and Trans USA champion, topped a bunch of fellow motocross legends, including Yamaha's Ricky Johnson and Brock Glover, as well as Honda support rider Danny Magoo Chandler. It was Howerton's second win in the event, the first going back to 1979. And there it is. There's the bike. Pretty cool, huh? Kent Howerton. I always wanted a chance to talk to Kent or to meet him, and I never got a chance to do that. It is now time for the announcements. The announcements. Susie, what do you got?
The announcements are brought to you by the International Motocross Museum. Visit them at www.internationalmotocrossmuseum.org or on Facebook. The York Swap Meet happens on Sunday, January 11th from 8 to 3 at the York Fairgrounds. There will be a bike show as well as hundreds of vendors selling parts. Reserve a space now as a vendor and enter your bikes in the show early. Contact Mike Slate or email him at mikewslate@gmail.com. On January 10th, the night before the York Swap Meet, the Potomac Vintage Riders will hold their end-of-year banquet at the Wyndham Garden Hotel in York. This year's special guest speaker is none other than Tommy Croft. Contact Dave Cutskel at dcutskel@yahoo.com. Saturday, November 1st, is the Crowder Creek ARP Church. Will have a barbecue and classic motor show. Proceeds will go toward the WNC disaster relief. It's from 12 to 3, and the cost is only $12.
That it, Susie, for the announcements?
That's all I got.
I forgot to do something. It's not a big deal. I forgot to tell you about the swap meet and it's really hard to see.
I can't read it.
No, there's no way you could see it, but I'm going to jump in on here and I'm going to do the best I can. 26th annual Nesco Vintage Dirt Street Bike Show and Swap Meet that happens at 3610 Nesco Road, Hamilton, New Jersey. This is a 2-day event, November 1st and November 2nd. That is this weekend, guys. So if you want to get down there, there's a special for 2 days. It's 40 a day or 70 for both days, okay? $5 for spectators. Kids under 12 are free. There's food. It's fun. It's a great time. Joe Balazzo has been doing it for 26 years, and there's a guy who really knows how to give back to the motorcycle industry. Joe Balazzo and the Nesco Swap Meet. And that's it. And one thing I wanted to say, I had a little discussion, not a discussion. We were going back and forth with Mike McCook last night about how I word my announcement that I create for the show every week, and I tell people to share it or come watch the only show that's live about vintage motocross and stuff like that. And I don't know if anybody reads as much as maybe some people think they read, but I will say this. We seldom crack 50 people live on the show. After the show, they share it. It gets to other places. Now, what do I do on Mondays and Tuesdays? I share that show to the point I think people are going to throw me out of their group. I share it personally from the Joe Abbate Facebook page. I share it from the Vintage Motocross Q&A page. It's on every page I belong to, every group. And yet, same guys who I am so grateful for, you know, the Carl Words and the Alan Hueys and certainly Tyler McGregor and Kurt Flatchbart and so many more who they come and support me every week. But it's the same 40, 45, 50 people. I don't know what to do to make the show grow anymore, guys. Maybe you got some ideas. I'm on YouTube. Let me put it this way. I've been doing this show for 5 years. I have over 450 videos on YouTube that include every episode of this show, every live event I go to, and all the interviews I've done. I don't know how much more I could do there. Sometimes I wonder just about, either how many people know about the show Or maybe there aren't as many people interested in vintage motocross and this type of programming than I think. I'm not really sure. Anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the show, and I appreciate all that you do for me, including our sponsors. Don't forget, if you want to get on the board, you could be up there for $250 a month. In the meantime, thank you, Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, and Motion Pro. Thank you. SoCal Makeup, Arma, Preston Petty Products, Full Circle Racing, as well as Amsoil and Bultaco East. That wraps it up. I might have, it's a private party I'm invited to on Sunday, but it's kind of a public thing, but it's a private party.
Mm-hmm.
Motion Pro is celebrating 40 years in business, and that is combined with the celebration of Chris Carter being inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame. I was on a very short list of invited guests. I'm honored to be there. And without being a pain in the neck to anybody, maybe I'll flip the camera on a bit so you could see who's who at that event on a Sunday afternoon. Okay? I want to thank you for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether it's on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. If you got any ideas about how to make the show grow anymore, boy, I'd love to know more about that. All right? Let me see if he's here. Gina!
There he is.
Gina! Come on, boy, you can make it. All right. All right.
He did it.
There it is. Thank you for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We will see you
Next time. Good
We'll
night,
see you next
everybody. What a ham bone.
There it is. Want to see it again? One more time.